Welcome to Tea in the Garden, a hilariously human spiritual podcast. Here, ancient wisdom is remembered and every conversation is a wild ride.
We're three neurodivergent witchy women rooted in curiosity, creativity, and conscious living, here to spill the tea on what really matters.
From psycho-spiritual theory to ancient history, shadow work to entrepreneurship, we're not afraid to go deep, get brutally honest, and laugh a lot along the way.
I'm Lauren New.
I'm Savannah Alloway.
And I'm Priscilla Doak. Come sip the cosmic tea with us.
Hello guys, today's episode is a response from last episode. People who have escaped the trauma bond, are healing from narc abuse, and are all asking us, okay, what now? What do I do now? How do I heal? How do I trust myself again? How do I become whole again? We are answering today, how do I actually rebuild after I've been in a relationship with a narcissist and potentially isolated? I don't trust myself. I don't know which way is up, which way is down anymore. So after we've broken out of the 7 stages of trauma bonding, yay, congratulations first off, so happy for you. We have 4 main points today. We're going to talk about why does our self-trust shatter, how to reconnect to our own signal or our own intuition again, especially after a lot of gaslighting, how to relearn discernment in our relationships so that we can love again, and how to really come back and come home to ourselves and recenter ourselves. So first off, why self-trust shatters first?
I know for me, the gaslighting was like, gaslighting is inherently what is going to start to break down that foundation of self-trust, because you really start to question what you saw or what you heard or what you said or what happened. And so that in a very insidious way kind of gets in your mind, your subconscious mind, and you really start to question your choices in things, your ability to do things, the way that you perceive reality. So inherently, it is going to start to break down your self-trust.
Yeah, and I think over time, right, like when you have gone through such a traumatizing or triggering relationship in your life, whether it's with a full-blown narcissist or it was just a big painful breakup, you often are left, right, like really questioning your decision-making processes, how and why things happened, right? And so that anchor in yourself has really dissolved, and that's really where we have to start rebuilding the foundation.
Because oftentimes it's like, oh, I knew, but I talked myself out of it. I over-justified things. I had an excuse and an answer and a reason for everything. But why did I do that? Why did I do that to myself? How did I let that happen? So we have to get to a point of normalizing that this, what happened was an injury, sometimes a very serious injury, not necessarily a character flaw. If we continue to get into trauma bonding relationships and continue these karmic cycles, maybe it becomes a character flaw, but for the not an unchangeable one, and for the most part, this is an injury we've sustained.
It's really like just a nervous system pattern. That's what we were talking about actually in my class yesterday on dating is like, you don't need to go down the road of like, I'm broken and beat on yourself and judge yourself for how and why you got into these relationships. It's very easy to fall prey to that, obviously, right? And judge yourself and feel really self-critical after coming out of something like that. But it's just about familiarity. Your body felt familiar in that for some reason. And once you have awareness of why that is, you can, of course, break that pattern, break that cycle in the future. But it really does start with like this first part we're talking about, reestablishing that trust on yourself. And I found that the best way to do this that really helped me come out of this cycle in my dating history is micro commitments to yourself. So when you create little agreements, vows, promises, declarations to you, and then you uphold them, right? That is exactly how you build that really strong foundation of trust on yourself. So it might be something like, I'm not going to get physically intimate with someone until the 5th date, or until I have a declaration of love. I will, withhold X, Y, or Z. And you're making those promises to yourself to respect, uphold, and like protect your energy, right? And there are so many ways that we can do that in the process of relationship.
Well, and even outside of relationships, right? Because especially once you get out of a relationship like this,
Yeah.
it's usually really good to just be with yourself for a little bit, especially when you're establishing like the very foundation of self-trust. So it could be even smaller micro commitments, like I'm going to go to bed on time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to eat nutritious foods. I'm going to move my body that day. So whether we're consciously dating or consciously dating ourselves, those micro commitments are going to be different, but this is really where you're going to start to take care of yourself again, which will also help combat that belief that comes with doubting yourself of like, there's something wrong with me. Obviously, there must be something wrong with me, or I wouldn't have chosen this relationship, or I wouldn't have accepted these things, or I wouldn't have talked myself out of it. Right. So by really rebuilding the foundation for yourself with this commitment to take care of yourself, whether you're in the stage of just being by yourself, dating yourself, or in Priscilla's example, where you're moving into conscious dating, these are little things that you can start to do to show yourself, your conscious and your unconscious, your nervous system and your psychology, that no, I'm worthy of this. I'm worthy of the basic necessities of taking care of my body or holding a boundary with another person.
Right. And I think that a lot of people don't realize, or they question, like, okay, but how do I start building self-trust? It doesn't just happen. You have to make intentional commitments, right? Like you really have to make intentional commitments. Like you just said, whether it's I'm going to start taking care of my body in this way, and I, at the minimum, going to go to the gym 2 days a week, whatever it is, or I'm going to start cooking one of my meals from home a day. Whatever the declaration is, make something that's achievable, that you can be disciplined with and you can commit to, and that's how you start to grow. And then you can do bigger and bigger things, right? But if you don't create a container for it, it won't just happen.
I think when we lose ourselves, we lose all the ways we care for ourselves. So if we are at a zero, we have to start from scratch. We have to start small. So that brings me to our next bit, reconnecting to our intuition, reconnecting to ourselves, not just trusting ourselves, but reconnecting to our inner voice, our higher self, and recalibrating the nervous system, and not only noticing, but fully trusting when our body has a response of, no, this is not it. So how do we do that?
I think the number one way to do that is you have to slow the fuck down. You have to slow down, because when we have spent all of this time in survival mode and or trying to preserve something that was dangerous for us, whether that have been mental, emotional, or physical, right? The body's responses start to shut down. The signals to you start to slow down. And so in order for you to reconnect with those and become aware of those again, just making spurt decisions or immediate yeses or nos is going to be kind of a habit. And so by slowing down, you're really going to allow yourself to feel all of your feelings, to assess how your body is responding to something, so that you can give an honest yes or no. Will this, and kind of for people like me who is like boom, 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 boom all the time, this was really frustrating. But it also showed me that my nervous system was stuck in survival because I tried to do everything very quickly. And so just slowing down my experiences with people, my conversations, my responses, the way I was doing things, slowing down really allowed me to tune back into my body and my intuition so that I could actually feel, hear, and know my yeses and my nos, so I could give an honest assessment on that.
Yes, that's exactly what I would share as well. I think the most important thing is just taking a moment to recenter yourself back in your body. Like something as simple as like how is my stomach, everything internal feeling right now in this moment? If it's been multiple hours since I've thought about it and I'm in a social situation, I'm on a date, I'm meeting a new person, whatever it is, I'm in a job interview, how is my belly feeling? How is my heart feeling? Just going inward for even 5-10 seconds tells you a lot. You can also, another great vital sign to check is how your appetite is. Like in a continued experience with someone, if you're not feeling hungry, not able to eat, that's often a very great flag of your nervous system saying, I don't feel,
or the opposite,
relaxed, comfortable. Mm-hmm. Right. That could be a pattern too. Right. And yeah, checking in with like, okay, how is my body really feeling in this scenario? Do I feel more at ease? Do I feel more myself? Or am I feeling like I have to perform a little bit more, like I have to mask a little bit more, right? And we can start asking ourselves those questions to check in.
So we talked about nervous system. The TLDR is you got to do somatic work. You have got to do somatic work to regulate your nervous system and find that baseline so that when there's contrast, we know when it's happening. Let's talk about our subconscious mind and our beliefs that led us to getting into these type of relationships, because at some level we agreed to them, which means at some level we may have thought that we deserved that, or that there was something that we got out of it. There's a psychological term called secondary gain, and that's when somebody gets something out of something that is rather negative. So for example, if someone is an alcoholic, what are they getting out of that? That's their secondary gain. They're getting something. That when we have a behavior that we repeat, when we have, albeit negative, when we have relationships, things that we continually do that are harmful to ourselves, but we keep doing them, it's because we get something out of it, or we believe that we deserve it. So how do we wind back the clocks and look at that inception point of where did I start believing subconsciously that this was good for me and or I deserved it?
I think it really helps to start looking at our framework on love in general. Sometimes it helps to like depersonalize it and think about like, what do you believe love to be or a healthy relationship to be, and start writing down just like stream of consciousness. Because what you might find is, because of your own experience, how your parents' relationship was, how your relationship was with them, or all the inundation of Disney movies and social media stuff, right? One of the beliefs we talked about yesterday that I think is huge for a lot of people is love equals endurance. Like, I endure for love. If love is true, I should stay. I should endure suffering, right? And if we've been shown that in any way, that can become a huge part of the cycle, right? You could see how and why, if that belief is normalized, we might end up in a situation with someone who's very damaging to our psyche or even to our body or to other aspects of our life, right? Because we're learning like, oh, you know what? Even if there's something hurting me or confronting or challenging in this relationship, I should stay. That makes me a good person. That means I'm giving true love, right?
And it's almost like Disney syndrome, right? Like,
So Disney syndrome.
Enduring,
Love should be all consuming.
Or like even the concept that is so normalized and so toxic is that you fight for love. That even that wording alone has a lot underneath it, actually. Like that we have to battle, or like that there's going to be people coming at us when we have a healthy relationship that are not supporting us. That's just not true in most cases at all, right? Unless maybe your relationship is not typical and your family's bigoted or something, right? But yeah, we have like so many deep-seated beliefs that we have to start like checking in on, what the heck have I been normalized to believe about love and relationships.
and then I think another common thing, especially with our common listeners and students and members, that, you know, I want to help this person, so saving them, right? Saving them. Oh, this person is damaged. This person is hurt. This person needs to be healed. And so I'm going to love them through and to them being healed. I'm going to save them in some way. You know, I feel like that's a really big one too.
Just at me.
And you know, a lot
Oh,
of
girl,
times,
take it.
a lot of times it's because when you're a highly empathic person, you understand why somebody acts the way they act. And this can be a huge Achilles heel, actually, for you in relationships, because you're overly understanding and empathetic. You're like, well, I know that, you know, when he was 5, his father locked him in a closet, and that's why he really is scared of commitments, because it makes him feel like he's getting imprisoned, you know? And just because I know that story and I know that trauma, I'm now making an excuse for behavior that really actually is not okay with me, right? And is harming me in the long run.
How it is in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. The potential that you see in a man or a partner, if they are not there today and it's just a potential that you see in them, that's actually you projecting yourself and what you would do if you were them onto them. That's actually the potential you see in other people is actually your potential, because potential. We can't eat potential. We can't pay our bills with potential. Potential is not going to take us on a date. Potential is not going to do anything. It's very patriarchal idea to get women to believe that men in the future will be better, when the reality is, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end.
My favorite phrase is like, do not date potential, date the potential. It's already realized. Like, the potential is already realized. It's here and now. This doesn't mean perfection. This means like, I love every quality this person is showing me. I love who this person is.
Right. It's like being realistic who this
Ah.
person is right now, not the fantasy of who you want them to be or wish them to be or can see them to be.
Yeah. Like,
who are they right now?
Looking at you, Pisces placements.
Yeah. If somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And almost always, 99% of the time, whoever we're sitting across from actually exposes themselves much more than we might realize. And we miss it because we're projecting a story onto them. We miss it because we're projecting a fantasy. We're projecting our own potential, our own way of doing things. But actually, almost always, that person sitting across from you straight up told you, I'm not worthy of you. I'm going to hurt you. Believe them. Believe them.
Please believe them. Please stop
If someone says
regular guys the benefit of the doubt. Please stop.
yes. If someone says I don't deserve you, believe them. If someone hurts you and says they won't do it again and does it again, believe them. Like, behavior doesn't lie, right? Behavior does not lie. So you have to look at the actual behavior. And one thing that my abuser used to say is, well, that wasn't my intentions. It's one thing to have an intentions. It's a whole other thing to have the reality of what happens. And in the end, if the intentions and the outcome don't match, then the intentions no longer matter.
Are you a highly sensitive empath looking to master your natural healing gifts? Have you felt your whole life that you were meant for something more? This is your invitation to join the National Intuitive Academy. Develop your psychic gifts, read tarot and astrology birth charts, authentic yoga, Reiki certifications, shamanic rites, Ayurvedic medicine, classical tantra. You are not alone. Join a community of empathic beings and teachers dedicated to your growth. We will help you master ancient healing sciences and develop spiritual business and marketing skills. Become the healer you are meant to be. Are you ready to start your journey?
Period. That brings me to our next point, relearning discernment with others.
Perfect segue. Perfect segue.
Are those initial, we're getting back into dating, maybe we're ready to date. We've had maybe 6 months alone with ourselves after that trauma bond relationship. We're ready to turn a new page and start a different, higher, better, more beneficial karmic loop. Because we're always in a karmic loop, but one that's not hurting us, one that is growing us, expanding us, healing us, loving us. One, I want to know, how do we release the shame of the past and not carry it forward? We obviously, affirmations, somatic work, but I want to go deeper with that, with releasing shame. And then how, when we start to put ourselves back out there, how do we know when something is a green flag, a beige flag, a red flag, love bombing?
So something that my therapist said to me after I left my abusive relationship, I knew immediately I needed to get into therapy because it's been a great tool for me personally, and I have access to it, which I'm so thankful for. I have the privilege of being able to do that. So one of the things that she said to me was, oh, honey, don't be so hard on yourself. Even FBI and CIA agents get conned. And I was like, you know, it's so true. They're running a con on you, and that's the purpose of it. So, you know, even people who are trained to know that this is happening get duped. So it's not a character flaw, like we were saying earlier. There's nothing wrong with you. the gig just worked, right? And they tend to go after loving, empathic, caring people because the con works on us better.
Yeah,
So
that's next.
we're all human. We mess up. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, one of my favorite phrases is understanding replaces forgiveness in the mind of the master. So I feel like it's so applicable here. Like when we actually understand how we got there, we don't have to forgive it. Like it actually dissolves even the need to forgive ourselves, right? Because the shame and the guilt comes from a lack of understanding, actually. Because think about this, like if you really were to see a little 5-year-old girl getting totally shut down by her dad, and her dad picking up a belt and acting like he's going to hit her because she got a C on her test, and then ignoring her until the next day when he acts like nothing happened and he gives her a kiss and sends her off to school, and she's like, wait, what? Is everything okay? How would you feel like seeing what she went through, and then seeing her 10 years later in her first loving, romantic relationship, entering a situation with a partner like that? Are you going to be like, you're so dumb? You'd be like, no, I see exactly why you ended up there. And I see that pure little girl in you that just learned a behavior, that learned to endure, that learned what was normal or not, right? So it's very easy sometimes to give that compassion and understanding to a third party, like our best friends, for example, right? When our best friends go through something, we're like, you're fucking perfect angel princess. What are you talking about? Like, we love them so unconditionally, but we don't give that to ourselves. So like really, I've found a huge tool is like depersonalize yourself through the inner child. Like see your inner child as that third person, right? And really understand what the heck they went through to get there. It really helps you dissolve the need to forgive yourself or to shame yourself or to, enter that cycle of guilt.
And another thing I would say is talking to the next point of like yellow flags, green flags, red flags, etc. Like a great standard that I found is that if my best friends won't treat me like that, then why the hell is this guy? Right? Or if my best friends do it for me, if they don't make me feel like my best friends do, it's a no. It's an immediate no. And that's just a new standard, right? But women are no longer having to get in relationships out of necessity, right? We're finally able to choose the people that we want to be with because we actually want to be with them. And we need to be way more selective with the people that we partner with in order to actually have a happy life and a happy relationship, right? So I would say like that for me is an easy standard, because we could talk about a million different green flags, red flags, yellow flags, etc. But you kind of have to objectively assess that. And at the same time, any type of physical violence, any type of verbal violence, anytime somebody, for example, you bring to them how you feel and they immediately get defensive, that not necessarily a red flag, but a yellow flag, because maybe they're dysregulated, so there's like so much depth in that we could go into the flags. But for me, it's, do you make me feel like my best friends do?
Well, what about people who are isolated and maybe don't have that friendship around them anymore?
Then I would say you need to be focusing on building community before you need to be trying to find somebody to be with.
100%. Period. I agree 100%, because your friendships and your chosen family are your standard. So when you have healthy community, it makes it so much more hard to get into an unhealthy relationship, because guess what? When you're entering newly, right? And you might not have fully established self-trust yet, or you might just be like, I don't know, I've had this, my whole life I've just grew up in this town and I've had these cycles of really bad relationships. Now I'm going through a spiritual awakening and I don't want to do this anymore in the same way. One of your greatest resources is your friends, because guess what? If you don't see it, they will. It's much easier to see things, to like when you communicate to your friends how someone is talking to you, what that date was like, what you felt like. It becomes easier for you to develop that inner stability and discernment through your community, right? And then the other like overarching red flag, I would say, like Lauren summarized hers, I would say another one is inconsistency, period. So inconsistency in any zone, inconsistency in the way they communicate to you, inconsistency in the way they pursue you, inconsistency in the way they make you feel. Inconsistency in the way they show up to their own life. Inconsistency is a really big one because a lot of times a dysregulated nervous system is attracted to instability and chaos, and it feels that consistency is boring, but actually we're rewiring this. So initially you might feel like weird and you might be like, wait, am I even attracted to this person? Just give it some time, and maybe you aren't actually, right? But as long as you take that pause, you give your system a chance to calibrate that, like, consistent people are actually sexy too. And, I could be attracted to them and there can still be passion there, but we want to have that consistency, especially in the way they're making you feel and interacting with you.
And another one I would say is if you feel worse after being around them, or if you question yourself more, or you feel drained, it like, what was some of the red flags that I did not realize in the beginning of my relationship was a lot of confusion. A lot of like, why is this happening? Why is he acting like this? Why do I feel this way? That is a big red flag, because your soulmate, your partner, your person, the one is not going to confuse you. It's not going to make you feel like shit.
I'm going to build my red flag off of that. If you're experiencing anything within the first month of dating someone and you are hiding it from your friends, you're hiding the truth of what's going on from your friends, that is a huge red flag signal. Because your friends will be like, please, no.
You want to look for that. You want to look for the peaceful, easy feeling. That's really what healthy love feels like. Is not dysregulation or like, yeah. It is like you feel so at ease with them. Even when there's great passion, great sex, you just in general, when you're with that person, you're sitting with them, you're talking with them, you're on a date with them, you feel so at ease. You just feel
they feel like another one of your best friends.
You feel like a friend. Like they really do.
So we're starting to replace and learn boundaries again from this building from rock bottom. How do we do that? What I love to do is collect boundary phrases. So have them ready. In the same way that we have affirmations we like to repeat, having boundary phrases that we like to repeat. Like, I'd love to keep hanging out, but it's past 11, so I need to go home. Things like this that we can repeat, that is, determine what your boundaries are that will make you healthy. A boundary is where I can love you and me. You'll know your boundaries because when they're crossed, you'll become angry. So if you're becoming angry, you might want to be putting a boundary around what is making you angry. And develop phrases to withhold that it can be repeatable.
And one thing I would say is really important for you to do, and this is kind of just a little homework exercise for anyone listening, spend a good amount of time on this. You want to write down your standards, which are different than boundaries, your preferences, which are different than standards and different than boundaries, and then your boundaries. So 3 different categories: standards, preferences, boundaries. Boundaries are going to be related to this. There is a line here for my mental, physical, or spiritual well-being. If X happens, then, right, I am not healthy or safe in this container, right? Or I need to uphold this for my own well-being. A standard is, this is a non-negotiable for me with someone I'm with a partner, with a friend, even with a family member. And a preference is, it doesn't have to be there. It's not a non-negotiable, but I prefer it. So it's really important for you to get clear, because when those are muddled, that's when I see people fall into relationships unconsciously, is because those are not clear. When those 3 categories aren't clear, things happen, right? Because we haven't gotten really defined in those areas.
Keep your standards high, make them high, and also make sure that you can reciprocate them, right? So if you want someone who has a PhD, you should have a PhD. If you want someone who's super fit, you should be super fit. If you want someone who can cook, you should have some proficiency cooking. So keep your standards high, but also let them be standards for yourself.
That's a big one for me. Like, and during my time of focusing on self-dating, I've really had to be like, okay, what are my standards? What are my preferences? What are my boundaries? And then I've had to do the work on my end to meet my own standards so that when that person comes into my life, I can be like, okay, I hold myself to this. Can you hold yourself to this? Do you already hold yourself to this? These are my preferences. My boundaries are what I do if the standards are not met.
So let's kind of wrap it up a little bit. I just want to ground a little bit more into letting safety and not adrenaline and nervous system activation, letting safety become the new normal. And yes, we talked
Mhm.
about sometimes that feels very boring. But after we get through the boring phase, which is pretty brief, what's it feel like? What's it feel like to live at peace with yourself and have
Oh my
standards?
God.
Wow, it
It's
sounds
so nice. It's so nice. And this is the whole point of why we do the nervous system training and reset the nervous system back down to that baseline of calm and steady. Because in the beginning it does feel awkward because your nervous system is used to something else, right? But once you get past that and into, okay, my nervous system has been regulated, I'm pretty stable, I'm feeling pretty grounded, I have some practices, daily practices, habits, routines, rituals that I do for myself that help keep me in that state. Or if I get dysregulated, it happens, we're not perfect people walking around regulated all the time. When we need to re-regulate, we can do that. Oh my gosh, what a freedom. What a freedom to not think that everybody's mad at you, that the other shoe's about to drop, that you need to worry about X, Y. It's so much freedom. And then that's when all of the other emotions can come, right? We have to build that foundation of safety first. And then all of the positive, as well as some of the, heavier emotions, feel that safety and are able to really start to come out. And we can deal with them somatically, mentally, emotionally, and clear all of that built up stuff, maybe not even just from the relationship, because oftentimes other things happen that led to us accepting or agreeing to the relationship in some way. But it's just, for me, I'm loving it. It's such a good feeling, waking up peaceful, waking up happy, waking up without anxiety.
Mm,
Very
10
demure.
yeah, like I think when you create that foundation as normal as your standard for yourself, or you reestablish it, right, like you've been doing in your life, Lolo, right, like when you're just reestablishing that baseline, your tolerance drops to very minimal. What do I mean by that, right? When you have put your focus in the right place, you've rebuilt this foundation of safety in yourself. You've rebuilt the foundation of safety in your friendships and your community and your chosen family. These come first. Then, if and when you re enter intimate relationships or romantic relationships, and somebody acts controlling or jealous with you, like on the third date they text you something weird when you're out with your friends, you're like, I'm literally never seeing you again, right? Your
You're
tolerance,
blocked.
you're
You're
done,
blocked. You're
you know.
blocked.
But seriously, and you might think, who's this girl? But really, when you have put your focus on those right building blocks, those foundational blocks of self-trust and community trust, your tolerance naturally will drop, and if you don't catch it, your people are going to catch it. So it gives you so much more opportunity for that success to happen.
And also, I gotta mention, along with your list, Priscilla, decentering men. Like, oh no, I'm gonna lose a good one. Then none of them are good ones. This is my true belief. If my husband is listening, I love you. All men are going at some point to disappoint you. Some of them will disappoint you with flowers. Some of them will disappoint you in Europe. Some will disappoint you on a yacht. Some will disappoint you in their 1990 Toyota Corolla. They're all at some point going to disappoint you. Maybe we do our next episode on this. I have a lot to say. Just decentering men. I have a lot to say because you guys don't understand how much I had every male in my life on a pedestal in my 20s. Like, oh no, yeah, I'm afraid to lose him. Like, I'll let go of a good one. I promise you, he's not that good. I promise you, there's a ton of guys just like him. Every
But
guy is just a guy.
it's like what they say, that the highest tier man is a mediocre woman.
Period.
Integrate that belief into your fucking life,
It's
and
true.
you'll realize that, number one, you staying in that space actually magnetizes the best men. There's whole books and studies on this, right? Number two, those great men actually feel the same way about other men. They literally
As an example, he hates other men. He doesn't hate them, but he feels that way. He's like, yeah, men ain't shit. Men
So
are
does
not shit. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And for any queer people listening, this doesn't exactly apply, but I think statistically, most people are in heteronormative relationships. Like, don't be afraid to let go of a guy because he's literally just a guy. If you're afraid to disappoint a guy, it's actually because you were afraid and are afraid to disappoint your father. It had nothing to do with this fuck ass guy.
Oh, clocked it. Oh, fuck.
What's that? You know that creator that's like, he's the best, that he has his iced coffees and he's like, bare minimum, and he like shakes his ice matcha all the time.
I love him. Oh my God.
Compare their behavior and how they treat you to your friends, because your friends almost always are going to treat you better, because a mediocre man is, wait, I got it backwards.
I saw what you were about to say though.
A high value man is like an average woman.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
I say that right?
Yeah. And like he always is like, you're getting upset over that crusty dude who doesn't even have a 401k? Embarrassing.
I'm embarrassed to not want to let a guy go. I'm sorry. Next episode, guys. Our next episode, 21. We'll do it. So let me wrap us here. What are we doing new? We're installing affirmations to the reality we want to create, a reality where we have boundaries, standards, preferences defined and upkept, because we are regulating our nervous system to equilibrium to notice when things are off. We're trusting that contrast when things are, oh no, I don't like that. That's making me feel drained. It's making me feel weird some type of way. We're trusting our friends. We're trusting our community and what they're saying. And we're not afraid to let somebody go. We're not afraid. You should be afraid to lose your friendships. You should much more be afraid to lose your girlfriends than some guy who can't even wipe his ass correctly.
You should be afraid to lose yourself.
Even more so.
But both.
Even more so. So we're listening to our body and we have a baseline. Okay? We are making micro promises with ourselves and building back trust by following through with them. We're letting go of shame because we're understanding why we were in these patterns in the past, and we're learning to take care of ourselves again and identify as someone who lives a calm, peaceful, full life well before we go and try to get involved with someone again. So that's the tea. That is what you do after you get out of the relationship. So I hope you took notes and I hope you apply them. And I'm going to say it one more time because I know there's someone listening. He's just a guy. He is not that special. I promise you. He is not that special.
Love this topic. I'm excited for our decentering men episode. That's going to be so good.
I'm coming to eat.
I know.
And cook. I'm going to cook and then I'm going to eat. Man, oh man. So we'll see you guys in that episode. Let us know in the show notes anything you want to hear about. I hope this was useful to you. We love you. We're here for you. You got this. It's not easy, but it is very doable. Just remember and repeat after me. I'm a baddie. I'm a baddie and I can do whatever I want. Amen.
Bye, everyone.
That's the tea.
Share with a friend, leave us a review,
and follow us on Instagram at National Intuitive Academy.